Hello everyone, welcome to Accounting by the PH. In this video, we will talk about the step 8 of the accounting cycle, and that is the post-closing trial balance. Post-closing trial balance is prepared to prove the equality of debit and credit amounts of accounts remaining open in the general ledger. So the accounts that remains open in the general ledger are the real accounts or the balance sheet accounts. Because if you guys remember, the nominal accounts or the income statement accounts are already closed by way of the closing entries. So what's left open are the balance sheet accounts or the real accounts. The post-closing trial balance contains the list of balance sheet accounts with open balances and is being defined as a balance sheet in a trial balance form. So for discussion purposes, we will still be using our continuing illustration, the Davao Laundry Services. In preparing for the post-closing trial balance, we will use an empty journal, and then in the uppermost center of it, we will write the heading. So the first line would be the name of the business, and that is Davao Laundry Services. And then the second line is the title of the report. And in this case, it is the post-closing trial balance. And then the third line is the period covered, and that is March 31, 2019, which is the end of the accounting period for Davao Laundry Services. And then here in the widest column is the account titles. And then we have debit and credit. At this point ay isa-isahin natin lahat ng ledger accounts from account number 1 until the last account na may open balance. As I mentioned earlier, etong mga accounts with open balances are the balance sheet accounts or the real accounts. Okay, so let's now start with the first account with open balance, and that is cash in bank with debit balance of 743,000 pesos. So, ang gagawin lang natin ay, kopyahin lang natin to. So, under the account titles column, lagay natin yung cash in bank. And then, in the debit column, kopyahin natin yung debit balance ng cash in bank, which is 743,000 pesos. Next, we have accounts receivable with debit balance of 35,000 pesos. Ayan. And then followed by estimated uncollectible accounts of 350 pesos credit. So, kopyahin natin to. We have estimated uncollectible account. And since credit, so lalagay din natin yung amount sa credit column. Ayan, 350. Next is laundry supplies with debit balance of 70,000 pesos. And then followed by laundry equipment with 150,000 pesos debit. And then next is the accumulated depreciation, which is the contra asset account of laundry equipment. It has a credit balance of 2,500 pesos. So, kopyahin natin, we have accumulated depreciation. And since credit, so ilalagay natin yung amount here in the credit column. We have 2,500 pesos. Next is notes payable with credit balance of 100,000 pesos. So, kopyahin natin, we have notes payable. The amount is 100,000 credit. Next is accounts payable with a credit balance of 30,000 pesos, and then followed by accrued advertising with a credit balance of 3,000 pesos. So, kopyahin natin, accrued advertising. The amount is 3,000 pesos. And then, lastly, we have S. Santos Capital with credit balance of 862,150 pesos. So, kopyahin natin S. Santos Capital. And then the amount is 862,150 pesos credit. Now that all the real accounts or balance sheet accounts are all lined up here, our next step is to put all the debits and all the credits. And as always, ang goal ay dapat balance yung debit and credit. So let's now put first the debit. So total natin muna yung debit. So we have 743,000 pesos plus 35,000 pesos plus 70,000 pesos plus 150,000. So, the total debit is 998,000 pesos. Okay, for the credit, tingnan natin kung 998,000 din ba. So, we have 350 pesos plus 2,500 pesos plus 100,000 pesos plus 30,000 pesos plus 3,000 pesos plus 862,150 pesos. So, the total of the credit is also 998,000 pesos. And our post-closing trial balance is indeed in balance. So, double rule natin yung balances natin. Ayan. Okay, so now ay pag-uusapan naman natin yung opening entry. So, the end of the accounting period of Davao Laundry Services was on March 31, 2019. And during that period, the books of accounts had already been closed. So, closed na yung general journal and closed na din yung general ledger. So, when we say closed, ibig sabihin nun, hindi na pwedeng makapag-post uli ng transactions doon. Hindi ka na pwedeng makapag-journalize pa ng transaction because these books are already closed. Yung ginawa nating post-closing trial balance kanina, which is this one. So, this one actually is a guide para makagawa ng opening entry for the next accounting period. Basically, the opening entry can be made either during the first day of the business operations or it could be at the beginning of the next accounting period. In our continuing illustration, which is the Davao Laundry Services, the opening entry was made on March 1, 2019. That is when we recorded the initial investment of Mr. Severo Santos. Supposedly, yung closing entries and yung post-closing trial balance, it should be done on December 31, 2019. That is actually the end of the accounting period for a calendar year. However, just to show you the complete picture of the accounting cycle, iniba natin and we made it on March 31, 2019 instead of December 31, 2019. In connection to that, the beginning of the next accounting period should have been January 1, 2020. But for illustration purposes, the opening entry will be on April 1, 2019. And here's now the opening entry of Davao Laundry Services on April 1, 2019. So this is based on the post-closing trial balance that we previously prepared. And here's now the opening entry of Davao Laundry Services on April 1, 2019. This is based on the post-closing trial balance that we previously prepared. So basically, yung ginawa lang dito is that kinopya yung mga account titles and its corresponding balances. And then, ino-observe lang yung proper way of recording debit and credit. For the estimated and collectible account of 350 pesos credit here in the post-closing trial balance, if you notice, it is written after the accounts receivable. But here in the journal entry, after the accounts receivable, we go directly to laundry supplies. So, ang nangyayari dito is that sinusunod-sunod natin lahat ng debits. After all the debits, saka na natin i-record lahat ng credits. That's why we have here the estimated and collectible accounts, yung una, and then followed by the other credit items. Okay, so this opening entry will then be posted to its affected ledger accounts. Like, for example, we have here the new ledger for cash in bank account. So, this is, again, a new ledger for cash in bank. So, we have here, in the debit side, we have here the beginning balance of the cash in bank, which is 743,000 pesos.